Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Now let's get this started. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. Great to have you guys here with us. Tim, great to have you back in the saddle as well, my friend. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm great. I've just gone ahead and gone to the the powerfulman.com/rise and seen Arthur's picture on there and found it incredibly hilarious. So I am doing very well.
We do have some old pictures. That picture of me, I'm not sure when that was taken, but it was a little while ago, guys, and we'll get some new headshots up there.
I'm going to give a
uh,
free coaching session to anyone that emails in and guesses Arthur's nationality correctly from his picture. I can't imagine anyone
all
would
right.
get it
Well,
wrong.
there you go. It's Tim at thepowerfulman.com. If you want to reach Tim directly with that contest, a free coaching session with Tim Matthews himself. There's only tens of thousands of men that listen to this podcast that can
Yeah.
pretty much just look at Arthur's last name and figure out his nationality, let alone by his picture. You're going to be busy, my
You
friend.
guys in the
Um,
IC, if you want a good laugh, head over to thepowerfulman.com/rise. You can see Arthur's picture. It's amazing.
yeah. So, guys, we do have for this month, we are giving away the Alpha Rise and Shine cheat sheet. And that's what Tim is actually commenting on. Tim asked, hey, what are we doing? I was talking about the podcast and I said, hey, look, I love to give the guys the Alpha Rise and Shine, right? We have so many guys going through this program as we're transitioning out of winter into spring. Guys just, need to shake it up. It's time to dust the cobwebs off, get back in shape, really spring clean your life, your marriage, your business, and everything else. And that always starts with the foundation, which is the Alpha Rise and Shine. So you can get that. Tim let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. You can go over to thepowerfulman.com/rise. That's RISE. And go ahead and download that. That is our gift to you. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about the fact that we have so much going on with coaching that we forget to update our headshots. We're normal people too. We can do that pretty quickly. But we've got a lot going on. And part of that is coaching. That's what we do. It's what you and I both love to do, Tim, is coach men. And right now we are talking about coaching men from the darkness of a marriage that's failing and not working to a healthy one. What is the role, in your opinion, Tim, in coaching to help men get there?
Wow, it's a great question.
Thank
I
you.
think, kudos to Darcy for writing such a good question. I think for me, one of the first steps is for the guy to really take ownership of his part in where the marriage is. Right, we give the men the try to connection, which forms you've got live as a king system at the base of it, hidden motives on the left hand side, and clean slate on the right hand side, and all of those sides, if you will, work together, but they're all held up by the live as a king system. This is where the guy gets to put certain things in place in his life that mean that he becomes consistent. And a big part of that is him recognizing the role that he played in having the marriage end up in the dark side. And this could be his wife that's having an emotional affair. It could be he who's had an affair. It could be all sorts of different darkness and dysfunction that takes place. But a lot of lightness begins to creep in when the guy begins to get some clarity and some awareness and perspective too on why he is where he is. That's when the darkness begins to lift, because it's like anything, right? I like to use the analogy of Google Maps or whatever satellite navigation you use, right? You type in the destination of where you want to go, and then what does it do? It calculates where you are. In order to get to where you're going, you've got to know where you are. And for most guys, they often don't know that they're in the darkness. They know the marriage isn't working quite as well as they would like it to work, but they also have a lot of faulty assumptions, right? She will never leave me. When I fix this issue in my business, then I'll turn my attention to my marriage. There's all sorts of faulty assumptions that go on. She should do the work before I do. Why does it always have to start with me? There's a lot of pride and ego that gets in the way. Yet when they actually begin to do the work on themselves and take ownership for their side in the darkness, like I said, that's when the lightness begins to creep in. And it's amazing to see when that first ray of light makes its way into the man and then into the relationship.
Yeah, it is great to see. And we think about transitions and we think about coaching. What comes up to me, Tim, is this idea of skiing. So I was snowboarding previously. Now I'm going to be skiing because my kids are getting older. My wife can't snowboard because of fears, right, of her knees. So she wants to ski. So anyway, I go out in the slopes and I try to do it myself. Not a pretty picture, right? I'm all over the place. I'm falling. Skis have changed since the last time I
Was it
skied, which
was it
is
videoed?
decades ago. No, and sadly, it's not because it would be hilarious. So the next time I decide, all right, I'm actually going to take a lesson, right? I'm just going to take a lesson, swallow my pride, and get some help from an
Hmm.
expert, right? So I do this, and within 20 minutes, I'm going down the slope like it's nothing. Why? Because the expert can see things that I'm doing that I can't see. I can't see that I'm turning. I can't see that I'm leaning back rather than forward, right? I can't see if I'm sitting on my heels or my toes. I can feel these things. I'm thinking about them, but an expert can see that. They can also see me go ski in front of me, watch me come down the hill, or wait, ski behind me, watch what I'm turning from behind, or ski next to me. They have a vantage point that I just simply can't have. Also, the ski instructor knows mountains more than I do, no pun intended. They know so much more about skiing than I'll ever know, let alone they giving me the basics on which to build upon. Now, fast forward, I've taken several ski lessons. I'm out in the blues with my wife. Her friends have been skiing most of their whole lives, right? I'm out there and it's challenging, right? So the big blues are still challenging for me. I'm new to this, but I can do it. I can hang out. I can have conversations, right? A hot toddy at the lodge with the whole group rather than me being on the bunny slope months later, still trying to figure it out on my own, struggling, frustrated, meeting them in the lodge eventually with snow all over me, just pissed off and angry, not having a good time. We've all been there, whether it be golfing, skiing, anything that we've done. For a lot of us, it's been in our marriage. It was for me, right? My marriage, there's not a lot of places you can go and learn the skills as a man, a real man in a modern day world, to actually have the skill sets on how to regain the strength and leadership in your marriage, right? There just isn't. And so that's where the activation method comes in. And with the activation method, which is our proven 8-week course that we take men through, it's led by a coach that guides men through this process, right? And it's a proven process. I think that's really important. If I hire a ski instructor who's never helped anybody get down the mountain, that's an issue. But our coaches have helped hundreds and hundreds of men get down their mountain safely, efficiently. Some of the guys are friggin' doing backflips off the moguls, they have the skill sets to help anybody, even amputees. Like, in other words, marriages that are so far gone on the brink of divorce, guys are bringing it back. Point is, coaching allows you to have that visibility to move and move quickly. Sure, if you haven't skied like me, maybe by the end of the season, you could pick it up and you'd be on the greens pretty good. Blues, probably not. Maybe you could, maybe. But you've lost the whole ski season. You've lost the money invested in the ski rentals, everything else, the time that you've missed with friends and family, laughing in the lodge, the time that you've missed enjoying the experience. Those are opportunity costs you cannot get back. And Tim, that's where I think coaching really fits into this transitionary period.
Mm, yeah, I remember before I invested in my first coach, long, long time ago, I was into personal development, and I was kind of like what does Tony Robbins call it? Turning your car into a university, into a college, everywhere.
Automobile University. It's
Yeah,
Jim Rome, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, he might have taken it from
Yeah,
Jim.
Jim
Jim's the one that
Rohn.
coined that.
But that's what it was like for me back then, right? Listening to audiobooks everywhere I went, using the CD rather, the audio CD. Loved it. Didn't know anybody else in personal development back then. I did my best to apply the lessons, did my best to apply it to my life. However, I lacked perspective, right? I lacked insight from somebody that was a step or two ahead of me that could hold a mirror up really and help me to see my own blind spots because I couldn't see them. I thought I knew what the holes in my game were, but from somebody that's walked the path, that understands the challenges that you're going to face, they're going to see my the holes in my game very differently to me. You know, it's difference between an amateur and an expert, right? They're going to have two very different perspectives on the same situation. And one is also going to be able to get to the result a lot faster with a lot less effort than the other. And I think you're right. Coaching, for me at least, it's been that perspective that you get offered by somebody. It could even just come in the form of a question they ask you. It could open up so much for you when you get asked the right question. And it's very rare that, in my experience, I've never asked myself a question as powerful as I've been asked by somebody else. Questions can open up so much, but like you said, it all comes from coaching. And it's interesting because so often there's a culture of encouraging your kids to go to college, right? Why is that? Well, it's so they can learn from experts, so they can get a proven way of doing things, so that they can actually then learn something they can take with them for a lifetime. So if it's good enough for your kids for you to set money aside to invest in their own growth and development, why would it then not be good enough for you to invest in your own growth and development in your marriage?
That's funny you mentioned it. Last night, my wife she's taking a coaching class, a class that's kind of advanced communication skills. And she's, in a room going through it. My daughter, who's 3, goes, "Well, where's mommy?" I said, "Well, mommy's in school right now." "Mommy goes to school?" I'm like, "Sweetie, we all grow and learn. That's how you keep growing. Your whole life is about growth, right? Growth and enlightenment and development, really." And my daughter just lit up, and she thought that was the coolest thing that mommy was in school, right? Because my wife is patterning, right, for my daughter
Mm,
a way of being, right? School is good. School is okay. My daughter goes to school. She went to school today. Today she went happily. Usually it's a little bit of a struggle. But the fact that she saw that mom goes to school, dad goes to school, we're continually developing ourselves through coaches, right? That it makes it more acceptable. So to your point, and when you're going through, I know for me, Tim, when I was in the darkness of my marriage, what happened for me is I was just pissed. I was pissed. I had a lot of resentment against my wife and vice versa, right? My wife did with me. And during that time, it's hard to see a transition out of that frame without somebody else helping you get out of it because you're angry, you're upset, you're hurt, you're sad, you're confused. You have all these emotions that we don't explore as men, and you don't know which way is up. Okay, what do I do? Give me the playbook. And nobody has a playbook. So a coach can look at your individual situation and give you
mm,
perspective on what's going on, what might be happening behind the scenes, things you can't see, and also helps you transition from this dark period, this winter, if you will, and helps you see the sun rising. And when you see that transition, that sunrise, that's when things really shift for men. It's also why a lot of guys who join the program will say within 2 weeks, things have dramatically turned around in their marriage. And that's not hyperbole. You can go in and look at our channel and our community, look at the testimonials. If you go over to powerfulman.com/, I think it's testimonials, but if you go to the website, essentially, you can see results.
mhm,
And there's literally hundreds upon hundreds of men who are sharing their results they've got through the program. We cover up their faces or their names most often, unless they've given us approval, but you can see they're real guys because they're posts, right? That they're sharing this with, their communications. And you'll see that these guys, just like you listening to this, they had dark seasons.
mhm,
And it's the coach that typically allows them to see what needs to be done. The coach doesn't do the work for you. Don't get me wrong. It's not like you sign up for a program and instantly everything's fixed. That's not the way it works. But it's like doing your alpha rise and shine, right? Doing those kinds of things that are taught through the activation method and having your coach tweak those for you individually. That's what gets you exponential results. If you don't get a coach, it's akin to me going on YouTube and looking up how to ski, which is what I did. Okay. It's what I did originally before I hired someone to help me out. It's good, right? It's better than not doing it, right? It teaches you how to put your skis on a little bit, right? As you're getting them on. Does not help you with your turns. It does not help you with getting down the mountain. Otherwise, it's gonna be a garage sale. You're gonna clean out and you're gonna be stumbling down that mountain. You're gonna be the guy that people are sitting in the lodge watching it, you tumble and fail as you go down the mountain. And the only thing intact will be the pride that you didn't reach out for help. You didn't hire an instructor. Right? I had that story. It's embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I'll be the guy in his 40s with a ski instructor on the blue, or the greens, and all of these things. And as soon as I was done, like I said, now I'm on the blues because I tossed that story. I reached out for help, got a coach, a ski instructor. And again, I'm on the blues, hanging out with my wife, our friends, right? Our mutual friends, and having a great time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the results page here. So it's thepowerfulman.com/results. And yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. Just getting back from Cuba as well. Having spent a week or so with the men, recounting the stories that they've shared of how the coaching, right? Be it over the past few weeks, the past few years. We've got guys that have been with us for varying degrees of time, but the impact the coaching has had on their lives, and how it's changed their lives. And by no means is this glorifying what we do, because it's not. These guys have had to put in the work. They've faced challenges. It's been tough at times, but they've continued to do the work. They've been consistent, and it's through having the coaching to be able to provide the insight and the perspective and the ability to be given tools as well and encouragement. A coach plays various roles in somebody's life. Um, they've been able to achieve the results they've achieved. Guys who, prior to the Alpha Reset, were convinced they were going to get divorced because they were the ones that wanted to get divorced. Other guys in the movement saying, hey, don't do it. Just wait until you've been to the reset and then make your mind up. Comes out of the reset and he's now a few weeks later. This is Heracles. A few weeks later, having gone to Cuba, is now going to be reviewing his vows with his wife. I mean,
Yeah. What a great
the
guy.
role of coaching, right? And imagine if he wouldn't have had coaching, where would that leave his family today? Where would that leave his kids today? Where would that then leave his wife today? It's huge.
Yeah, and I know some of the naysayers out there, Tim, are saying, "Oh, yeah, well, you guys are saying that because you offer coaching services," and that's partially true. The whole truth of that is, we often say, if you go back to the podcast, don't go through the powerful man if you don't want to, but do something.
Hmm.
Do something. Now, we are biased. We do think the activation method is the single best program for married businessmen to go through to save their marriage, to turn things around. It's the best because we tweak it every single session and make it better every time. And we make it better based on feedback from the men, feedback from the coaches. I think we have almost a 5 out of 5 star review from all the programs, men that go through. Every once in a while, guys like, hey, I didn't get an email. So he gives it a 4.9 or whatever. It's pretty friggin' close. And it's because we work diligently on it. We don't work diligently on our headshots on the website, but we work diligently on the program and the coaching. And so again, hey, if this isn't for you, what we're talking about is not resonating with you, that's great. No worries. But do something. Do something that's going to move you further down the path, whether it be in your business, your marriage, your relationship, whatever it is. Do something to go through. Tim, any final comments for the men as we go through this and the role of coaching and helping guys get out of the darkness and into the light?
It's going to be uncomfortable, right? You always like to say, choose your hard. Choose your hard,
Yep.
right? It's going to be uncomfortable working with a coach because they're going to challenge you to face things that you've probably been avoiding, but you need to face. It's going to be tough. At the same time, continuing to struggle in the darkness on your own without a roadmap to find your way out, without an inclination of when the light is going to shine, that's also hard. and your family, the people who work for you, no doubt people in your community, they are looking to you to lead, to be the beacon of light, to be the beacon of hope. So you have a duty, in my opinion, you have a duty to lead yourself out of the darkness. And clearly, what you have been doing hasn't been working. Otherwise, you wouldn't have ended up in the darkness in the first place. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So just do something, whether it's with us or not. I'm not bothered, quite frankly. I'd love to work with you. And, if you choose us, great. If not, just choose somebody. Just do something. Just don't continue to drift in the darkness.
Yeah, guys, as I was telling one guy I was talking to, I said, look, you join the activation method, doesn't change what I eat for dinner. I don't go from top ramen to eating steaks. Does not change my life in one bit or another, but it will change yours. It will change yours. So, gentlemen, as we always say in the Moment of Insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are two types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, wolf is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.